Hey everybody, Tekking and Barry back again, and I think we got into a rhythm at this point. So go to the intro. Law Week!
You betray the law! Law!
You're just messing with me at this point, aren't you? It's the joke, right? Yeah, it's like, ha ha ha, let's just make fun of Law Tekking. No one cares about him, right? It was just a running gag from years ago. Yeah, you're probably gonna cut me off in the middle of this. Absolutely. I think we're good. I think we're gonna coast through the rest of Law Week very easily. All right, so this week on Law Week, this week on Law Week. No, we're not doing another one of these. I don't. Law Week Season 2. Law Week Season 2. I don't know. Let's get through Season 1 first and see if that, passes muster and we may go on to plan Season 2. I don't know if I could even do a Season 2. But anyway, today on Law Week, day 4, I believe. I'm filming these out of order, by the way. So that's just how it makes it even more confusing. So I think this is like the third episode I've actually filmed, but I think it's episode 4 that'll actually go up. Anyway, it's redundant. Okay, so we all know Law is well defined by his devil fruit, the op fruit. Oh, look at it, how glorious it is. It has a very unique shape. It is a heart, and of course that goes back to Corazon being the heart of the Doflamingo family, but also Law's heart, really. He healed Law's heart, because he was so terrified after Flevance and everything, and, running off with Corazon and trying to treat his illness and everything. And everything, it worked out at the end of the day. Corazon died in a ditch in the middle of a cold wasteland being shot by his brother, but everything worked out at the end of the day, right? So we all know Law's devil fruit is simply amazing. I've made a bunch of videos about that one alone. So this was an interesting one. What if Law did not have the op fruit? What if he had another devil fruit? Ooh, I'm just using the Gamu Gamu no Mi for an example. The whole video is not going to be about that. But actually, you know what? I wasn't going to talk about this. I just had this devil fruit on standby, but let's talk about it. Let's say Law were to be the one that received the Gamu Gamu no Mi, and he's the main character, and he gets to go into the sun god form. How about that, huh? Okay, now, I should clarify that if Law ate any other devil fruit other than the op fruit in the context of the story, Law would die because he needed the op fruit in order to heal himself. So, yeah, I know somebody's going to be like, wait a second, wouldn't Law just die? I'm like, yeah, he would, but we're not talking about that today, okay? We're just talking about, like, how Law would use other devil fruits, and I have, like, a whole random one-piece devil fruit generator that we're going to be utilizing, so we're just going to go through a few of those. But, yeah, let's talk about this. How would Law utilize the Gamu Gamu no Mi in a different way than Luffy did, okay? Well, Law is, I don't want to say that Luffy is stupid or anything, because when it comes to fighting, he's really not. In fact, the Gamu Gamu no Mi is really the perfect fruit for Luffy, because Luffy fights in a very random kind of way, and he also develops moves like on the fly and stuff like that, and so that freedom in fighting really applies to the Gamu Gamu no Mi. Now, I would say Law, just being more intelligent and more practical, he might come up with moves that might seem better, but at the same time, I think the true power of the Gamu Gamu no Mi has to be used in the hands of someone that is truly random and just crazy with it, okay? Now, Luffy has the Will of D, and Law also has the Will of D, so they're definitely vying for freedom, but just like how Blackbeard's sense of freedom is different from Luffy's sense of freedom, I think all the members of the Will of D, all the members of the Clan of D, have a different outlook on what freedom really means to them. Hell, look at Garp. Garp is a member of the Marines, and that's something Luffy absolutely did not want to do because he felt like you wouldn't be free. So Garp has the Will of D, and he does, go for freedom himself. That's the reason Garp doesn't want to be an admiral, for instance, because then he would be directly under the thumb of the Tenryubito. So vice admiral's like the highest position you could hold in the Marines without being completely restrictive to the Tenryubito's wishes. But, so that gives it, like, a sense for his idea, okay? But Law is a very different from Luffy. So I would honestly say that while Law would be very skilled at using the Gamu Gamu no Mi, he would probably not awaken it. Because I really think you have to be somebody like Luffy with that just, like, sort of childlike wonder and imagination in order to truly unlock the powers of the Gamu Gamu no Mi. And that was also a reason, like, the Gorosei even mentioned, like, this fruit, plenty of people have eaten it throughout the courses of 700-800 years since the Void Century. It's just that no one was ever able to awaken it because it was so difficult to, and Luffy came around and he was the one that did it because of his very specific mindset and moveset and everything like that. Law might take the Gumu Gumu no Mi and he might go in a completely different direction with it, okay? He might not arrive at Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd and Gear 4th and Gear 5th eventually. He might take it another way, and it might still, don't get me wrong, would be still very, very powerful in its own right. I just don't think he would ever be able to awaken it. Law might, create abilities that actually, being a doctor, Law might arrive at the conclusion of Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd because it involves like his vascular system, his skeletal system, his muscular system. So he might actually arrive at those conclusions, but also because he would be aware of the damage they would do to his body, maybe he would back off a bit. Like maybe Law would attempt to do Gear 2nd. He's like, oh, I'll pump blood through my, blood system and everything like that, and so I'll be able to go faster. But then Law would also realize this is going to severely damage my arteries and my veins. I better not do this. I better go some other direction with it. So he might abandon Gear 2nd for another move or something like that, right? So yeah, there's actually a lot of medical science that goes into Luffy's ability, but it's so wacky that it kind of gets like overshadowed a lot. But yeah, so that's the general idea of what we're going to be doing today, and that's just the Gumu Gumu no Mi, all right? So I got this generator here, Generator Rex, and this is just a devil fruit generator I found on a random website, generatorland.com. I'll leave the link below if you want to give it a spin yourself. And so this is by generator by Luber, so thank you, Luber. Anyway, this was the first thing it landed on, so it's the Niku Niku no Mi, or the paw-paw fruit. That is the one that Kuma has, so sure, let's just go with that. You can also choose the category, so I'll do a few random Paramecias, a few random zones, and a few random Logias, okay? So what if Law had the paw-paw fruit? Well, first and foremost, him and Beppo would be like best friends, okay? Like that would be super adorable, right? Like Beppo is like, Captain, you ate a fruit. You have paws like me now. Yay! And they're like clapping. But, I think Law, would be like, all right, yeah, we're best friends, Beppo. Yeah, we both got paws. Yeah, okay, awesome. That would be fun. I think Law would be able to figure out this fruit very quickly, and he would be able to learn about all the crazy things you could do with it, okay? If he got to the point where Kuma is, and he could like literally just send people away by touching them, he sort of has like the ultimate win button when you really think about it. But in another direction, you could say that he has the ultimate win button, but also he does not get stronger in the process like physically. Now, Law's not super like physically strong right now. But what I mean is, like, if a really strong pirate attacks him or his crew, if he has the Niku Niku no Mi, he could just, like, paw attack, boom, and then just send them flying away 3 days and 3 nights in the opposite direction. So it's like, all right, the threat is handled. And I mean, like, you could always argue in One Piece that Haki can put a damper on any devil fruit ability. So, like, hey, that's actually a legitimate question. Like, if Kuma wanted to use his devil fruit ability to send Kaido or Big Mom flying, could he do that? Would it be as easy as Kuma just walking up to Kaido and just boop, and then just whoa, sending Kaido flying 3 days away in the opposite direction? Or could you say it's like, no, because Kaido has crazy powerful haki, he would be able to resist, he might get pushed away, but it wouldn't be that far, maybe he only gets pushed like a couple 100 yards away or something like that. Same reason why Law just couldn't use his abilities to, like, teleport Big Mom away on top of Onigashima. It's like, their haki is too powerful. The most I can affect them with my room, but I wouldn't be able to send them that far away. Okay, so I'm assuming it would be something like that, but still would be a ridiculously powerful devil fruit, and it still involves like spaces and teleportation. So I honestly think the Niku Niku no Mi, that would be right up Law's alley, honestly, with a lot of stuff you can do with that. Also with the whole aspect of rejecting pain and suffering and physical damage in like a form of like the bubble, that would actually be really interesting. So because Law being a doctor, he could be like, I'm gonna push my body to the utmost limits. Like Law could be like, I'm gonna run really far, and then right when it gets to the point where he starts to like feel exhausted, he could use the ability to like, eject the exhaustion from his body and then keep moving. So being a doctor, he might be able to reject various aspects of like his, I don't even know, his strain, like things that do not have physical form in real life, he could like, expel from his body, right? I don't know how that would work. Like, let's say he was just really tired tired. And he was like, I'm really tired. Could he eject his tiredness? I don't know. He could eject certain things out of his body, like if he was inflicted with like poison or venom, could he eject the venom out of his body? Being a doctor, that would actually be very useful, right? If he ever had a blood clot or something, could he like reject the blood clot? Maybe. I mean, like, I'm not saying. I mean, that is something that is physical, but still, very interesting way that Law could maybe, go about this. Okay. But anyway, that's the Niku Niku no Mi. So let's do a few other paramecias. We have the Ryu Ryu no Mi. Oh, Brachiosaurus. I thought it was Kaido's at first, because you see Ryu Ryu, you see Dragon, and he's like, Kaido, right? So no, this is Brachiosaurus. Allows the user to form a Brachiosaurus. This is Queen's Devil Fruit. Okay. Now, I would say, Law just turns into a Brachiosaurus. So just picture a Brachiosaurus with Law's hats and then call it a day. But no, then you have to understand the way that the Brachiosaurs really hunted back in the day. And of course, this is collaborated by paleontology and, archaeology and all that stuff. It's just a fact of nature and science that Brachiosaurs were able to disconnect their necks from their main body and send them flying out at their prey that they would be wrapped around on and then crushed. And then that's how the Brachiosaurs hunted way back in the day, back in the Cretaceous era, right? Yeah, absolutely. So Law's a pretty smart guy. I think he would be able to figure that out. Now, he's not a scientist in the same way that Queen is a scientist, so I don't think he'd be able to develop like the rockets, the voice-commanded rockets on the side of his body or anything like that. But yeah, Law being a giant Brachiosaur, I can dig it. I just realized that's not a paramecia. That is, in fact, a zone. So I think it's random categories for every single one. I thought it was like you click on the actual word and it gives you one of those categories. Okay, they're all random. Whatever. Makes it simple, I guess, for me. But yeah. So this one's not really much. It just Law turns into a Brachiosaur and he just like hunts using the, firing his neck off and then rejoining with his body like a Megazord. Yeah, sure. Why not? What's next? Wait, that is the Logia, though. Okay, no, it isn't, I guess. Okay, hold on. Okay, so the Suna Suna no Mi and then the Chiyu Chiyu no Mi. Yeah, this is Law Week right here. Just figuring this out as we go. All right, so the Suna Suna and then the Chiyu Chiyu. Okay, so the Suna Suna, the Logia, that's Crocodile's fruit, of course, the sand ability. Once again, it's crazy that, yes, the op fruit really is an ability that works perfectly if you have medical knowledge, but I'm starting to realize how far medical knowledge will go for a lot of these devil fruits, okay? Now, Crocodile didn't have a lot of medical knowledge, or maybe none at all, and he was still able to dehydrate people perfectly fine using his ability, but I don't know, I just feel with, like, a surgeon's touch, Law would be able to be more direct with it, okay? Instead of dehydrating the whole body or something, like, I don't know, he walks up to you and, like, only dehydrates your kidneys or something, and then it's even worse. It's like, you didn't do anything to me. Oh my God. And just like collapse. Like he could like shrivel up your internal organs, or dry you out from the inside. Okay. So that actually would probably be even more brutal than the way that Crocodile uses it. But yeah, that would be something like, I've drained all the moisture out of your brain. And then you're just on the ground, like, you're not even able to function. And Law's like, yep. And they're like, yeah, okay, that's pretty brutal, but yeah. And then we have the Chiyu Chiyu no Mi, which is the heal fruit, which actually, okay, this could have been a fruit that Law could have eaten at, the island with Corazon. So I always forget the island. It's Minion Island, right? Yeah, it was Minion Island, yeah. He could have eaten the fruit at Minion Island, and it probably would have healed him from his Amber Lead syndrome. So I guess there's only two fruits in existence, the op fruit and the heal fruit. Now, the heal fruit, the way it was used by Mansherry, is kind of interesting because she's not a doctor or anything. It's like literally just her tears and like her coming into contact with another person will be able to heal them of all injuries. Does it work on disease? I don't know if that was ever actually confirmed if it does. I know that you could use the fruit's effect and drain your own lifespan to heal like inanimate objects. Like if a vase was cracked, you could use the heal fruit to like fix the object, because that's what Doflamingo was using her powers for, like last ditch effort to fix the factory or whatever. But I don't know if it can work on disease, so that might be more of like the op fruit's territory, but it also very well might. Okay, so Law, though, I think he would dissect this fruit, no pun intended, down to the base nature of it, so he might be able to use the fruit more effectively than Mansherry ever could. Maybe Mansherry's only using it in a very limited capacity because she doesn't know anything about being a doctor, so she just cries on things and they just get healed of their wounds. Like, oh no, you have a stab wound. She cries on the stab wound and it just heals up like Naruto or some shit, right? And that's all she knows how to do. But in the hands of an actual doctor, Law could like maybe examine the patient and be like, you have eternal bleeding, right? And you can't cry because it's internal. But maybe it's like he could like open you up and then like apply, like he can maybe take like a part of like the essence of the heal fruit. He doesn't have to cry. He could just like make a little like healing ball or something and then just put it in where you're getting the internal injury, and then the internal bleeding heals up, and then he stitches you back up. It doesn't get you back up. He could just close the wound and then use another healing ball to like close that wound, and then there you go. So a different mechanism from the op fruit, but still very similar in how it would be healed. The only difference is there would not be any like battle applications for it, unless you can heal somebody to death. Oh god, I just thought of something horrible. Isn't that kind of what cancer is? Cancer's just cells that like continuously propagate. That actually reminds me of the Black King from Drifters. If you've ever seen Drifters by Kota Hirano, the Black King, who may or may not be Jesus, has the ability to heal like other beings around him, and he can like replicate like seeds and plants and stuff, and like that's his ability. And so he actually uses this ability on a dragon, so he has the ability to heal. So he touches the dragon, but he basically gives the dragon cancer or like tumors that like cover the dragon's whole body, and they're like constantly propagating and stuff. It's just like an unceasing, like relenting, like propagation of these cells. So in a really dark, twisted way, Law probably could heal you to death, So yeah, that's kind of crazy, but yeah, there's that. What's next? We have the Ato no Mi, the art fruit used by Giola. Okay, so what is Law's sense of fashion? Well, we actually do know that from another video. I haven't filmed it yet, but another video that we have planned for Law Week. Okay, so there we go. The fashion of Law. And we know from that Law really likes his hoodies, and he also really likes his tats. He likes his tattoos, okay? So Law's art fruit, he would basically just become a tattoo artist, I guess, right? I guess the art fruit would work for tattoos. He just goes around and gives people tattoos. He can make, like, actually, that'd be really cool. Just imagine him taking the letters off of his hands. Like, he can take the D-E-A-T-H off of his hands and, like, throw them as, like, actual weapons or something. I guess maybe not the actual tattoos. I mean, maybe if he gave himself the tattoos, maybe he could, like, peel off his tattoos and use them as weapons. Like, he could get a tattoo of, like, a knife on his hand or something. And then when he's in a bind, if he's up against a wall and he doesn't have his sword or something, he could just like pull out the tattoo knife and then just attack an enemy with that or something. Like, I don't know if that's how the art fruit works, because we didn't see Jola using it like that. Jola used it in her own fashion, which was very like abstract kind of Picasso art. Meanwhile, you have Law, who has a very different sense of art. Okay, and it's more like the tattoos, sort of the skulls, the edgy kind of idea, right? So maybe something like that. We have the jacket fruit. Yeah, I'm so glad I rolled this one. Okay, so I mean, of course, we gotta go the idea of Law eating the jacket fruit and then Beppo putting it on, right? Like, we have to go with that. So we get Law's medical science and his tactics and his, like, planning and battles and stuff mixed with Beppo's just raw Sulong strength. So Law sees, well, actually, how would that work? Because if the mink's eyes are covered, they're not actually able to transform into a Sulong, okay? So that wouldn't work. So but still, Beppo's raw strength, he's still a damn polar bear, even at base, okay? So Beppo puts on the Law jacket, and then Law is just like, okay, let's fight. And I don't even know how that would look. Just imagine, like, Beppo's body shape, but Law is like stretched over him. I don't know how that would work, because the way it worked with Kelly and Bobby Funk was the big muscular guy, and so Kelly was this short guy. And so when Kelly turned in the jacket and put him on Bobby, the body shape was still Bobby's, okay? So it will still be Beppo's body shape. Just imagine a polar bear, and polar bears are huge. A polar bear, but with Law's like skin stretched over it. That's horrifying. But sure, okay, let's go with that. It would just mean like Law would get a huge attack boost, or maybe not Beppo, but also Jean Bart. Jean Bart could also put on Law's jacket, and same basic effect as Kelly and Bobby Funk there. But yeah, other than that, I've gone through why the jacket fruit is not a great devil fruit. It actually kind of sucks, really, because you have to have somebody else to put you on. You can't like move around while you're a jacket. You can't like force someone else to put the jacket on. Like, someone else has to put it on that's your ally, and then you take them over, okay? And it works if like you're both on the same team or the same crew. It's like a collaborative effort to really get the full extent out of that fruit, okay? So yeah, jacket jacket fruit. That's pretty cool. We have time for a few more. We have, Marco's fruit. Oh, this is pretty good. We're getting some good ones here. Okay, this is another one, actually. Okay, it doesn't cure disease, so I think Law might have still died if he ate this fruit. But this is what I mean. Like, there's a lot of devil fruits that actually circle back to medical science when you really think about it. So yeah, we have the Tori no Mi with the phoenix fruit, so he can fly. Law will be able to... A flying Law in the sky. Actually, out of all of the ones I've talked to, I mean, the paw-paw fruit would be funny, and the heal fruit does work for Law. But honestly, I would like to see Law, if anybody's going to draw any of these, I would like to see Law with the Tori no Mi the most. Law with the phoenix wings flying around in the sky, and then as a full phoenix. I think that'd be really sweet to see. So Law can manipulate the flames of rejuvenation, and he would be able to figure those out pretty quickly, I think, to heal a lot of wounds. Once again, I think they're just physical wounds, like if you have cuts or scrapes or bruises, or like a sprained ankle or something, he can heal up. But it's also not something that works for a long time on other people. Like Marco is a doctor as well, and he was curing like the Sphinx and the people of Sphinx Island, you know, where Whitebeard was raised, and he was like, hey, you know, my powers aren't like omnipotent when it comes to other people, you know, like they had to basically keep coming back to Marco to get the treatment in order to stay healthy. Okay, so it's not a magical thing. It's basically just I use my fire to like dull the pain. It's essentially the aspirin fruit, if nothing else, just on a much bigger level and probably more, you know, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna use the fire on you and it feels nice and warm, and it's like, oh, okay, all the pain just melts away. But you have to come back in like a day or two because the pain's going to come back, okay? It's not really curing the problem. If you have a systemic problem with you that's causing your headaches, all Marco could do is take away the headaches for a couple of days, but they're going to come back unless the problem is actually resolved, you know what I mean? So, yeah, once again, though, Law continues to be a doctor, but uses this ability as basically like anesthetic, you know? So if somebody comes in and is like insane amounts of pain, like, I'm in so much pain, I can't even tell you why I'm in so much pain, I'm just in so much pain, and, you know, he's freaking out and everything like that, you know, Law can just, you know, cover them in fire and be like, I actually feel okay now. Huh, all right. It's like, okay, now this isn't going to last forever, so you got to tell me what was the main problem. It's like, oh, I just had really bad heartburn. I had, like, tacos last night. Like, oh, okay, well, you should be good in, like, 2 days then anyway. I'm like, okay, good. And just walks out. There you go. All right. What's next? We have the Zozo fruit, model elephant. So this is, model mammoth elephant fruit. So this is Jack's fruit. Okay. Law turning into a giant mammoth with like the giant version of his hat on top. That would be funny. I'm just picturing all the animals wearing the hat. It's very funny. So this one's not really, it's like the Brachiosaur. It just gives Law like a huge like attack bonus, right? But you know, it's just, he stomps around and crushes things. It's pretty much it. Same as the Brachiosaur, you know. And when it comes to wanton destruction, it's pretty solid. Jack was the drought because he would literally stomp through all of the fields and, like, destroy the crops of anywhere he went. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not very medically, you know, applicable, I guess. Okay, so let's go with one more if this is a good one. Let's see what we got. We got the the Pokeball no mi? No, of course, the pocket fruit. This is the fruit that Oda specified. This is Blamenko's fruit, the 6th Division commander of Whitebeard's crew. And Oda specified that this would in fact be Usopp's fruit. If any of the Straw Hats, all the Straw Hats had devil fruit powers that didn't already have them, yeah, this would be Usopp's ability. So, you know, once again, for Law, actually, this would be very applicable because this is a useful fruit no matter what your hobbies are, pretty much, because it basically gives you access to pocket dimensions. You have pockets all over your body or on your clothes, or like with Blamenko, like they're parts of his chin. So you could probably make a pocket out of anything. And, you know, then you can hide a bunch of stuff in like hammer space. So it's like a pocket dimension, kind of like Beiji a little bit, where you can just pull out random stuff. If Law continues to be a surgeon, you obviously would need to have a lot of surgery, you know, implements with you. Now, with the power of the Op-Op fruit, all of that is with him. So he doesn't need to carry around a defibrillator. He is the defibrillator, right? But with this fruit, this would actually work great. So he would be able to keep literally an entire doctor's, you know, studio, like an operating theater wherever he went, okay? So, yeah, he doesn't have the power of his fruit with the counter shock, but he could have emergency defibrillators in his pocket at any time and just pull them out that way. He doesn't have the scalpel ability, but he can pull out like a full thing of like scalpels ready to go, all these medical implements. You know, he could even carry giant, like, scans and stuff. I don't know if they have MRIs in the One Piece world, but with this fruit, he could literally pull out, like, a giant MRI machine and a huge-ass generator to power it anywhere he is, anytime he wants. So, once again, as a doctor, as a surgeon, very, very useful to have this fruit. But it's, once again, like I said, pretty much useful to be anything. Like if you're a carpenter, this is a super useful fruit. If you're like Usopp and you have a bunch of little gadgets and things, super useful. If you're a cook like Sanji, super useful. You can have a ladle wherever you want. If you're a musician like Brook, very useful. You can have a whole piano wherever you go. You know, if you're a swordsman, you have all these swords ready to go. If you're a gunsmith, you have all the guns ready to go. You know, like, so no matter what, if you're Robin and you just have all these books wherever you go, no matter what you have or what you are or what you do, this fruit is useful. You know what I mean? The only way this fruit is not useful is if you have a phobia of pockets, which I'm sure some people do. So if that's the case, this is the most terrifying fruit in the world for you. But anyway, yeah. That's this episode of Law Week, episode 4, day 5, whatever episode this will be. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know down below on which other devil fruits that I didn't cover today, because I couldn't go through all of them, obviously. But let me know which devil fruits you think would be really cool if Law had, and how he would use them differently. So thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking, signing out. Hats off to you.